Welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Today is Monday, May 20th, 2019. We've got a lot to go over tonight, folks. First of all, I want to start with our space weather segment. Here, let's take a look at solar wind speed sitting at 397.9 kilometers per second with a density of 2.5. Checking out the sun. Completely blank right now. No sunspots. We haven't talked about that in a long time. We've had AR 2740 and AR 2741 that produce multiple C-class flares, even an M-class flare. We've had geomagnetic storms. We've had everything in the past couple of weeks. And I want to show you something here real quick. By the way, this is our first sunspotless day in probably almost 10 to 12 days. That's 75 days now for 2019 without a sunspot. And I wanted to show you real quick. KP is sitting at 1. And let's look at our space weather page here at thegrandsolarminimum.com. Look at that. Completely quiet here. This area was busy last week, and today we are flatlined, folks. Nothing, nada. Back to the quiet sun. There's our KP indices since the 19th. As you can see here, no storm conditions whatsoever. Let's take a look at the SDO in motion. And let's zoom in a little bit, guys. Check it out. So we've got a couple of small coronal holes here on the sun's Earth directing right now. Nothing really to be concerned about. If there is going to be any kind of uptick in solar activity, I'm sure it's going to be just in solar wind speeds, probably somewhere around the 400s. I don't see nothing really impacting us right now, currently on the SDO. And let's take a look at the entire picture, except for the stereo B missing section. Look at this. There is nothing on the back side of this sun. Let's zoom out a little bit so you can see that. So we are talking about conditions on the sun right now as we are looking at the future. We just saw our big 2 sunspots head into the area that's missing right now. So of course we can't see anything there, but the rest of the information shows us that we are dealing with a quiet sun coming up here in the next several weeks. So we will continue to monitor to see if AR 2740 rears its ugly head for the 3rd or 4th time, I believe, actually, coming around the bend. Take a look at our TSI readings for May 11th, 2019. We are looking at a total of 1360.535 for total solar radiance on May 11th, 2019. So keeping steady in that 1360.5, 1360.6 value, as we've seen a slight difference since we were having readings in the upper 0.6s. And then we had that little bit of a dip that went down to 0.3. And since we've kind of hovered around in the mid 6s from then on out. All right, let's get right into it, folks. First of all, here is a live look at our radar. As you all know, we are in the middle of a severe weather outbreak. And unfortunately, the worst is still yet to come. Now, this is what's been happening here for the past several hours. All day long, we've seen all kinds of headlines today for tornadoes. I'll get to that here just in a second. But Stillwater, you're now getting inundated with severe thunderstorms. And look at these cells, folks. They're broke up. It's one after another, after another, after another. And these are a very intense line of storms that only continues to go over the same spot over and over as far back as southwest here in the northern parts of Texas as well. Let's go ahead and move it up a little bit. Lubbock, Texas, you're now out of the woods. Plainview as well. Armarella, you guys seem to be out of the woods for now as we continue to watch these lines of storms just fire up and just continuously pound the same spot over and over again. The ironic part about today is that this severe weather threat is an anniversary to the deadly Moore, Oklahoma tornado that happened, I believe, in 2013. It's been 6 years to the day since the EF5 tornado hit the city of Moore. 25 people were killed. 10 of them were children, some who were inside of Plaza Towers Elementary School when the tornado struck. 300 others were injured. Hug your loved ones a little tighter today and every day, reads a post on the Tinker Air Force Base page. By the way, I believe this Air Force Base, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe this Air Force Base did evacuate today because of the severe weather. There were other installations across the area that did as well evacuate because of the storms that were coming through. But this was just a look back 6 years ago. An EF5 tornado ripped through Moore, killing 25 people. Just absolute total destruction. So people are a little bit on edge right now. And as I lost it already. Sorry, folks. So people are already on edge a little bit. But let's go over the headlines real quick and let's talk about what's happening. Several tornadoes have touched down in Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, and Missouri. Tinker Air Force Base was evacuated its planes out of Oklahoma in anticipation of severe weather. So there we have confirmation. It was Tinker Air Force Base that was evacuated today. Flights were canceled at Will Rogers World Airport. Schools were canceled or dismissed early in several parts of Oklahoma and Texas. This is footage of a tornado that just happened a couple of hours ago. Multiple tornadoes that touched down in Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, and Missouri with very active evening of severe weather underway. The storms kicked into high gear Monday afternoon and evening with tornadoes touching down in several parts of Oklahoma and Texas. The roof was blown off of a small apartment building in Magnum in southwestern Oklahoma, according to Greer County Emergency Management Director Glenna D. Edwards. Damage was also reported to at least one home as well as a high school building and a softball field, Edwards told theweather.com. There were no immediate reports of injuries, thank God. So far, one county 4-H building destroyed, 3 houses and 1 apartment complex seriously damaged, and 1 barn hit. No injuries reported at this time. Tornadoes were also reported in Odessa, Texas, as well as all of Cherokee County, Kansas, and Barton County, Missouri. Earlier, 2 tornadoes formed simultaneously near the towns of Crescent, Oklahoma, and a tornado in Paducah, Texas was also among the multiple twisters spotted. Look at that. Good grief. Absolute mess tonight. More footage of tornadoes. Tornado just rubbed out in Paducah, Texas. Waterspout on Grand Lake in northeast Oklahoma reported damaged boats and docks in the area. Let's see, this is straight out of Tulsa's Channel 8. Here's some footage right here. This gentleman caught the waterspout. And honestly, guys, just look at this. Here's the beginning of it right here. All kinds of footage today, folks, of waterspouts, tornadoes. Just look at the skies. There it is. Right here. As the videographer here says, water nader. I like that. There it is. So something that doesn't get caught all the time is the actual beginning of a waterspout. Guys, please be safe wherever you are recording this footage. It is amazing footage. Please think about safety first, okay? Because these storms are dangerous. This is nothing to mess with. You know, the crazy part about all this is I've never seen this before. The extreme, the Weather Channel kept showing how extreme the danger is for tornadoes today. Torcon of 9, guys, in most areas in Oklahoma and northern Texas. So absolutely stunning stuff that we are looking at right now. And the only reason why it's stunning is we didn't have this kind of a severe weather outbreak last spring. If you guys remember, it was pretty quiet when we were talking about storms and tornadoes. Flooding was starting to affect several areas Monday evening, including Fay, Oklahoma, and Cowley County in Kansas, south of Wichita. Some local roads were closed in both areas. A forklift driver was taken to a hospital after being struck by lightning in Enid, Oklahoma. The city of Moore, Oklahoma closed all of its city offices at 1 o'clock. Let me tell you something real quick, guys. Tinker Air Force Base closed. City officials closed. When you live through an EF5 tornado that killed 24 people, you can't imagine the anxiety that's happening right now as we speak in this location. And I can speak from experience because my family survived the 1974 tornado of Xenia. That was also EF5. Very powerful storm, killed over 30 people and injured over 300. Very similar to what we saw here in Moore, Oklahoma. And I can speak to experience that every time we got severe thunderstorms after that 74 tornado, my grandmother and other family members, it rattled them big time. They would instantly take cover, no matter if it was just a windy day, they would take cover. So this is fresh for these people right now. This is a very intense time. This is a very scary time. They've already been through one of these, and then they look at the map and they see this. And folks, that's not very comforting, and considering we're talking about a torcon of 9 throughout the most of the state of Oklahoma. So I can just speak from experience that once you go through an EF5 tornado, you don't forget them. B, every little bit of storm scares the bejesus out of you. So you're always going to be extra ready when the next system comes through. And guys, today, this was the most probably appropriate time for anyone to close up schools and offices early today, because again, the warnings that were given from all the weather outlets were pretty much saying extreme danger. Tornadoes are more than likely in this area today and throughout overnight and going into tomorrow as well. And we'll continue to read about that in a second. Moore, a suburb of Oklahoma City, is one of several cities and counties that cancel classes or shut schools down early. John Burris, athletic director of Westmore High School, told Weather.com that memories of the 2013 tornado, as well as an outbreak in '99 that killed 36, were fresh in the minds of both officials and residents. Just what I was just talking about, guys. And it really is. And it's going to stay fresh for a very long time. This doesn't go away in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. This is something that's going to be scarred, especially if they live through one that happened in '99 and then 2013. And here we are in 2019 with the possibility of some major tornado action over the next 24 to 36 hours. Wherever you are, Mother Nature is always there, and you just prep and you live and you do, says Burris. This is a home, and this is what we do, and hopefully we don't have to go through another event. But if we do, we are strong, we will rebuild, we will take care of each other. Positivity is everything, folks. Head of the storms, Tinker Air Force Base also evacuated all aircraft on the base, flew them out of state. A Facebook post says the base commander also authorized liberal leave for base personnel. University of Oklahoma, Oklahoma State University, and schools in Oklahoma City all closed Monday, as well as districts in and around Abilene, Texas, and Abilene City offices shut down at 1:30 p.m. Will Rogers World Airport in Oklahoma City warned that passengers should be prepared for flight delays, cancellations. The National Weather Service Storm Prediction Center warned that western and central Oklahoma and parts of Texas Panhandle are at high risk of tornadoes. In addition, there is a high risk of flash flooding, also high hail and high winds as well. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt's office announced that the State of Emergency Operations Center had been activated, and the Oklahoma Department of Emergency Management is in communication with city, council, tribal, and private sector emergency managers and other partners across the state. The rare SPC high-risk threats of tornadoes today provoked a great deal of discussion among meteorologists on social media. One guy here saying, I'd certainly label this as a nightmare scenario. Mike Smith, U.S. weather expert, Twitter. Everyone okay in Oklahoma and the Texas Panhandle and Northwest Texas, please take the severe weather forecast seriously. This is not hype, and we are not kidding around. We hate forecasting this big of a tornado outbreak because we all know people will die and property will be destroyed. That's from Rob Lightbrown, Crown Weather Services. Guys, that's a serious label of warning right there. We hate forecasting these big tornado outbreaks because we know people will die and property will be destroyed. Patrick Marsh, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service, predicts that they shared 17-tweet thread in which he said it's important to prepare the possibility of tornadoes, but don't panic. A healthy dose of fear is reasonable and nothing from which to hide. However, at this time, there is nothing about which to panic, he wrote. Again, easy for him to say, but as I just mentioned, people are really at high tension right now when they look at what happened before. So here's a look at all the watches in the United States, and especially we're keeping our eyes here in the Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas. Now, in Kansas, we are flooding out right now with all this rain, this constant rain just flowing through the same areas. So we are flooding out in Kansas. Parts of Arkansas are not yet affected. Missouri, you're looking at flood in the northwestern part of the state. The northern panhandle of Texas, still in a tornado watch. But I think they're, in all honesty, they're out of all immediate danger at this point. I would hope so at this point. Let's just say that. And we will actually be able to confirm that when we look at our GFS forecast. As of right now, though, looking at the radar, it does appear that the panhandle of Texas does not appear to be in any kind of danger at this point, unless we get some redevelopment on the back line, which some are saying could happen. And look at this, guys. While we're talking about a severe tornado outbreak, we are also looking at snow in the higher elevations of Denver, and lots of it. This system is cranking out. One side is severe weather. The back side is chillier, cooler weather with snow in the upper elevations, not just in Colorado, parts of Wyoming, parts of Nebraska, and parts of South Dakota as well, experiencing snowfall while we're talking about this dangerous system moving across right now through Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, into Kansas City, and into parts of Iowa right now. It'll continue to move towards the east by tomorrow. And let's take a look at some more maps before we move on to tomorrow. There is our severe weather outlook. Again, guys, we see that high risk area. Like I said, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different shades of color here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's only 5 listed. So they're above extreme here, folks. Very, very, very high. Tornado in a 50-mile radius is a possibility throughout most of the state in Oklahoma. Also, believe it or not, slight severe risk in the far northeast of Maine, Connecticut, other parts in the northeast. Upstate New York had some storms that kind of flow through, and Mario will share some pictures of that. We had 3 different storms that ran through here yesterday, each one with 0 visibility as the rain poured down, dropped over a 1/4 inch, if not a 1/2 inch of rain on each downpour that we had. But also the streets and the sidewalks, it was just like a continuous pond. Thankfully, it all receded very quickly. We're not experiencing any kind of major flooding here, but still kind of weird. I've never seen that kind of rain in that quick amount of time. So, you know, I talk about these rain bombs and these quickly amounts of rain that develop as fast as these do here. And then you live through one, and it's quite a sight because how fast it happens. Now, this is a 3-day outlook here. And at the end of this run, we see more severe weather, a possibility of the panhandle of Texas. But this map is just a mess, if you ask me, guys. The Northwest, the plains, the Central Plains, heavy precipitation over the next 3 days. This goes all the way through the 23rd, which is Thursday. And again, it's just one storm after another out in this region, folks. NOAA predicted flooding for the Mississippi Valley and the river all the way through Iowa, all the way through parts of mid-May. We're already getting into late May, and we're still dealing with major flooding. And there are parts in Mississippi that are not seeing any kind of receding waters whatsoever. Just another look at some satellite imagery here. You see that bright purple. That is where the storms are the most intense right now. But we are expecting development overnight, tonight into the overnight, early morning hours before dawn, the possibility of tornadoes. And that's the most frightening forecast that I can give right now. But it is out there. So, folks, we need to take caution tonight. You need to sleep with a weather radio. If you don't have a weather radio, make sure your cell phone has its notifications on for all emergency weather alerts. You will need this information should a tornado come through your city or town that you live in. So, folks, I can't stress how important right now it is to make sure that we are prepared, make sure we have batteries, make sure we have flashlights, candles, just in case the power goes out. Down trees, power lines will cause that during these storms. Even straight line winds can cause some power issues. Believe it or not, talking about all the severe weather, we have our first named storm of the 2019 tropical storm season on May 20th, 2019 at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time. We have tropical storm, right now it is a tropical storm Andrea. It's very early and the track does not have it heading towards land at this time. I do believe that we are seeing some tracks that are going to take this thing back out into the middle of the Atlantic. So this will not be a threat at this time, but still early to see that we have already our first named storm of the year. Now let's go into what's going to happen tomorrow. We already know tonight is probably the worst of the severe weather, but we're not done with it. Tomorrow we get rounds of heavy rain threatening parts of the central U.S. with river flooding, travel disruptions. Heavy rainfall will heighten flood concerns across a large corridor of the north-central United States through Tuesday. The same system expected to unleash a tornado outbreak tonight is also going to spread a swath of drenching rainfall across its northern sides. The heaviest steady rain could be too much for streets, drainage systems, and rivers to handle since the ground is already saturated. That was the case yesterday here in upstate New York. In the end, some places will end up receiving a foot of rain. That's right, folks, a foot of rain. A wide swath of 2 to 4 inches of rain is expected in Texas, Oklahoma, and border South Dakota and Minnesota through Tuesday. A stretch from Oklahoma and eastern Kansas to southeastern Nebraska could end up with a half foot of rain through Tuesday evening. The AccuWeather local storm max of 12 inches of rain is likely to occur in this zone as well. So, Oklahoma, eastern Kansas, Nebraska could all end up with a half a foot of rain, and 12 inches is likely to occur in some local areas as well. It's saying here it's conceivable that parts of the plains and upper Midwest may receive up to 12 to 18 inches of rain during the second half of May alone. Initially, the major rivers are likely to handle the rainfall with little impact. Most rivers in the region are receding, and a large number of points along each river will have waters dip below moderate flood stage this week. Eventually, the same waterways that overflow with water earlier this spring could once again rise above flood stage because of what's happening right now. So it's receding and now it's coming back. Communities in these areas will have already more than their normal amount of rainfall this spring. Minneapolis has over 7.5 inches of rain since the beginning of April, where their normal value is around 5 inches so they're about 2.5 inches above normal right now. Kansas City, Missouri has received nearly 6 inches of rain from May 1st to the 19th, which is 177% of normal for this time of year. Oklahoma City has received 6 inches of rain already today, and there's more on the way overnight. So we will keep you guys posted on all of this severe weather that we have happening right now. So we've got to deal with the severe tornado outbreak overnight tonight, and then tomorrow on the northern side of this storm, we will be dealing with heavy rain. But right now, the main threat, the main focus is going to be these tornadoes, and all these counties here in red right now are under a tornado watch or a flash flood warning right now. I'm sorry, flash flood warning and a tornado watch. But we know this area right in here is going to be the watch area for the whole night, folks. Northern Texas into Oklahoma and parts into Kansas. We will definitely be paying attention to overnight, as we've had several rounds of tornadoes already hit our area. And again, we're just in the beginning of this severe weather outbreak. Here's overnight tonight. So you see the intense rain moving now north towards Kansas, more located in northern Oklahoma. We're starting to see a little bit of lift out of Texas, and then a little bit of redevelopment on the backside of this. By Tuesday morning, the heavier rain will be in parts of Missouri and Illinois, parts of Kansas as well, and still heavy snowfall in parts of Denver in the upper elevations, folks. May 21st. Unreal. This storm is going to remain stationary Tuesday in the same areas of Missouri and Iowa and parts of eastern Kansas. Light rain to moderate rain through parts of Texas into Arkansas and Louisiana. This storm will continue to move eastward, and the entire state of Illinois by Wednesday will be dealing with heavy rain and severe possibilities as well. But this storm dies down significantly as we head into the evening hours. The sun goes down on May, and now we just have scattered showers for the remainder of that system moving further eastward. And really, guys, after the 23rd, we get another system, a repeat of almost what we had this weekend in the same spots. Kansas, Iowa, northern Texas, Oklahoma City. Watch out again for more heavy rain. This system does not appear to be as organized as what we're dealing with right now, but does show some redevelopment as it moves through the weekend. Pretty much the same areas that we're getting hit right now. Then Sunday, May 26th, we're looking at a low pressure system bringing more rain to the northeast and the at least East Atlantic part of the United States. And then it looks like on the 26th, more heavy precipitation moving across the Central Plains into the Ohio Valley, again to the East Atlantic, and again on the 27th. I mean, look at this, guys. Look at the development of heavy rain over the next several days. Actually, let's go ahead and bring that up. All right. Look at that. Pretty close to what we've been showing you all spring so far, but this bullseye right here is going to be this area that's going to be dealing with their next flooded system. Now, I thought maybe it was possible that the Northwest and the Northeast was going to be next. The Northeast is actually getting a decent amount of rain over the next several days, 3 to 5 inches of rain in parts of the Northeast. But this is the area that we're going to be focusing the most in right now, guys. And tomorrow, or actually here at 10 o'clock, just in about a half hour, Mari is premiering a video that she put together. This is a very important video, and I want everyone to tune back in at 10 o'clock tonight for the premiere. We are talking about a flooding situation in the Delta of Mississippi. Now, folks, this area floods out all the time, but this is a little bit more than just our typical flooding season here. This is just more about than heavy rain and everything. This is about infrastructure. This is about planning. There is a lot going on that people need to start opening their eyes and look at the big picture here, that our infrastructures are not going to be able to handle all of this cosmic ray influx with these rain bombs, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 inches of rain in 24 hours in places like the Delta, which we will show you here in about a half hour of how bad they are suffering, guys. We mentioned this a couple broadcasts ago about how we haven't seen flood levels like this down there since 1927. We believe these situations are worse than what we saw in 1927. So stay tuned to that here in the next 22 or 32 minutes. We will premiere that live as well. And that's going to do it for tonight. Tonight, I just wanted to focus on the weather and what's going on. Wednesday night, we should be back with another broadcast at 9 p.m. We'll do a full grand solar minimum news update. But I wanted to focus attention tonight mainly on the severe weather outbreak that we're dealing with right now here in parts of Oklahoma, Texas, into Kansas, into Missouri, near Springfield. The threat is not over, folks. And what we need to watch out for tonight, overnight, and I'll show you the area in particular, is right in this area. You could see the Gulf moisture being pulled up into this system as this cold front behind it is going to collide with the Gulf warm air, which is going to allow more development of severe weather overnight as well. So a lot to watch, a lot to cover for tomorrow. And it's possible that you guys might see us tomorrow night if there's any breaking news that needs to be discussed. We will be here first to go over that with you guys. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us tonight. Stay tuned in about 31 minutes for the premiere of a video that Mari had put together today on the flooding situation in the Delta, the Mississippi Delta region. So very, very important video. Guys, national media isn't even talking about this, and this is a serious situation. This is worse than what they usually go through. So it's not just another flood. This is a situation that is getting worse by the hour. So stay tuned to that, guys. We'll stick around and be in the chat. Talk to you guys as we're premiering this show as well. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in for our GSM weather update. We will be back live with a full report for the Grand Solar Minimum News on Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, guys, we'll talk soon.